Hi, I'm going to demonstrate today how I use this Daige laminator slash mounter. In this demonstration, I'm going to use a piece of 4x8, it's 4 foot by 8 foot Coraplast, and I've already made a print that's going to go on it back here. We're going to put this on the Coraplast, and I'm going to show you how easy it is with this kind of clunky machine, but we get it set up just perfectly so that it runs really smooth. In other videos, I'm going to try and demonstrate how to laminate with this thing really well. I've got a little technique that I use, and man, I tell you what, this thing does a great job. So here we go. You start with a piece of Coraplast. And at this point, I'll bring the print over so that we can get it lined up, ready to mount. It's going to be a full print. Although I could cut it off some for this. We're just going to leave it as it is. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is to line this thing up somehow. In this case, this one's really simple for me. I'm just going to line it up to the print edge over here on the side because I have some room to trim in the middles, and I'm not really worried about the waist. I'm not really worried about the waist on this side over here. So I'm just going to trim that off. And that's important to do because you don't want any lamination leaning over, falling over, and catching one of these rollers. It'll start pulling all of your lamination out, and you'll be up a creek. So you want to try and get some of that off. Sometimes it's okay to leave an inch or so, but try not to leave much more than an inch. The next thing, I'll just push this thing out of the way a little bit, get my squeegee ready, and my pair of scissors. Make sure this side is lined up, because that's how I'm lining this project up. They're all different. And simply peel back a little bit, 2 or 3 inches. Make sure you get a nice little lay down of it, and it's not, it all came off at the same level. Make sure you got a good line up. Always check that line up, and then trim some of this off. Trim it as straight as you can when you trim it, though, because it's going to make it much easier to take off if some of it is smaller or larger. So now we're ready to go down. I'll make sure I'm looking at this side. It all looks really good. I'm just going to bring this down nice and straight all the way across. Got a great start. Simple as pie. Now, I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to put this in the rollers. Go ahead and bring our rollers up because I need to set the rollers for this material. So bring them up so that there's some room, and then push it through. You can roll it through however you want. There's no pressure though. In fact, there's a lot of play here. Now this is the most important part, is to set your rollers as nice and even as possible and at the right thickness. What I like to do is make sure that I got some room where the roller will bounce up and down on both sides, and then let the roller fall down on your material and bring one of them down till you just touch the collar. No pressure, you just touch it. Do the same thing for this side. I like to bring it up, push it down, and then bring it to where it just touches that collar. The next thing is easy. You want to make equal turns on both of these dials so that your roller goes down at equal pressure. To make that really easy for me, I put some stripes on the tops of these knobs, and I'm going to show you what they look like. just a little white sticker. And I've got the same thing on the other side. Now they're not always facing the same direction. I guess technically they should, but I find that I just watch each one as I turn it. Now let's take a look at this thing. I'm going to go ahead and make these adjustments. So remember, the last thing I did was I pushed down on the roller so that I knew that there was contact, and I turned this knob to the very top of the collar that it's pushing down on, and I did not apply any pressure. I did the same thing to this side. Now I like to take 1/2 inch turn increments. So I'll take this thing, and I know the direction that it's pointing. I'm going to turn it 1/2 turn, leaving it pointing the same direction, and I'm going to do the same thing for this one. On this material, I like to run a full turn, and sometimes if I'm feeling a little goofy, I'll turn it another 1/4 time. But I make sure that these things are turned exactly the same amount each. So we've done a 1/2 turn. There's our full turn. And now we have a full turn on both sides. For good measure, I'm going to give it a little 1/4 turn. It wasn't quite a 1/4, but it was equal on both sides, and that's the most important part. Now, I'm going to adjust the camera up just a little bit. Okay, we're going to get this thing rolling now. You see that I've got this thing all the way up to where that I can get the release liner out from underneath it. Well, here's the next thing I do. I go back here and I get the end of my material. I've got the end of it, and I roll it backwards with the image out. And this is really important that you roll it this way, because if you don't, if you roll it the other way, you're going to have problems, and I can show you that in just a minute. We're going to show you how this is not a problem and how the other would be a problem. So now you see I've got it rolled up, and I've got image out. I'll put this thing over the top of the rollers. Now, as for how you roll it, as this is coming off the roller, I'm going to lift this up and get my release liner off. Now it's important that you get this release liner off very nicely. I like to keep pressure on this, like no slack on this on the roller, and that helps this come off nice and smooth. Now as you roll through, this roll that you're feeding is going to roll. And what we're doing is we're making it roll backwards, roll this way. Because if we rolled it the other way, it would roll into this roller and get underneath the material and cause a big mess and a reprint. So always roll image out. Now we're simply going to turn this guy on. Let it start rolling through. As you can see, it's coming off. This thing doesn't have a speed adjustment on it. It's kind of sucking, but you know what? It doesn't take long. It's halfway through. And it's a beautiful mount. Albeit it's on Coraplast. We do stuff on this machine for vehicle wraps. We make all sorts of signs and laminate all sorts of things. This unit really is, if it's treated right, if it's operated correctly, I should say, it's a fantastic little device. Now, we're all the way through. Just let it finish up. Let's take this off, put it on the table. Turn this camera around so you can see. Now we have the release liner. I'm just going to take off the top. Some people keep this stuff throw it away. Now, what a great looking print. This thing, if you can look closely, it's flawless. I'm telling you, it's flawless. Now, these are just some junky little signs, but you see how easy it was? Okay, if you were smart, you saw this. Yeah, there was a transparency in my PostScript file that did not PDF well, so I had to redo that one. It's on another roll. But anyway, this thing is absolutely perfect. So I hope that you got a little something out of that if you were having trouble with the Daige unit. As you can see, it was a simple task of mounting this. We could do one of these every 2 or 3 minutes if we needed to, so we could be really productive with this equipment. So if you're looking at a Daige machine, it's certainly not the best system in the world, but it's a great entry level or a great one for someone who doesn't want to spend a whole hell of a lot of money on one. This might just get you by. Hope that was helpful. Have a good day.